number one thing holding agencies back from scaling that are already at seven figures. If you're a seven-figure agency, listen up. If you're not a seven-figure agency, this one might not be for you, but it might be for you later. The number one thing holding seven-figure agencies back that are trying to scale to eight figures or just scaling in general is management. And before you're like, what's this guy talking about? I need you to understand that over 80% of managers have a negative value to the actual business. And if you think that number's crazy, you also have to understand that management is the whole undercurrent of the entire business. So if management's not being done well, nothing else is probably getting done well at all. And here's the problem. The signs are really hard to tell if you don't know the best practice of management and what to look for. And before you say, I have great leaders in place, here's the thing. Management does not mean leadership. Management and leadership are completely different skills. They're not even closely related. Generally, you become a great manager, then you become a great leader. Entrepreneurs are generally a bit different. They become great leaders first, and then through the crucible of growing their business, then they become good managers over time. But employees that become managers, not do this. They have to go management first, then leadership second. It's the way it works. And all the stuff I'm going to be going over today, I have like a way expanded version and a 5-hour training on how to make your agency self-running. It'll be in the description. Let's get into the actual model that we're going over today. All right, I want to start with passive advancement because this is something that people get wrong all the time, okay? There's only two ways to really advance, and that is you are an individual contributor, right? Somebody in your business, and they're really high potential. Like they do great work and clients love their work. And if they're non-client facing or like on a non-client team, these people are the people that like build amazing stuff. And you're just like, wow, like I can depend on you. And generally people automatically just go and they say, nope, this is a manager role. Like I'm going to give them a manager role. And like, this is wrong. Okay. Like this is not what you want in any way, shape or form. There's two paths. You can either become a manager or you can become a technical expert. And what a technical expert is sort of like the lead of a function. So this could be like head of SEO, head of digital, head of PPC, head of Google if you're big enough. They can be the head creative, like creative director. Like these people are like technical experts. In some cases, these people also have a managerial side, but they don't have to. And this is the biggest mistake that agencies are making. This is why they're not scaling, because they're forcing their amazing technical experts to also become managers of people. And that might not be the right call because again, management's a totally separate skill. I'm going to break this down a bit further. If you have somebody that's, a great technical expert, you want them to basically have a dotted line relationship to the individual contributors being like the front line. So in this model, you have a technical expert who the manager manages. So this person reports on a managerial basis, like to the manager, right? Like the manager is their boss. But this technical expert from a knowledge perspective actually leads the individual contributors. And obviously you can have more individual contributors here, as many as are needed, okay? So this is how it works. Now, the problem is that for some reason, a lot of people basically stick technical experts as the manager by default. They axe this out and obviously eliminate this. And now you have the technical expert in the manager role, managing other people, so on and so forth. And this is bad because like not everybody's meant to be a manager. And being a technical expert, like people can make a lot of money in these roles if we structure them right. Okay, so let me get into what a manager actually is and why this is the number one reason that people get stuck trying to grow their agency, because they have a whole bunch of technical experts in management roles. The number one thing that somebody has to do before getting that manager role is that they have to replicate themselves as an individual contributor. So this means that before they get that promotion into management, like this is the final test, either they're basically going to become this technical expert or a manager, right? Because this person deserves it. Like they're making good impacts to the business as this person that knows a lot, right? They have to clone themselves as an individual contributor. And I'm not talking cloning themselves at 25% or at 50% or at 75%, although that like we're getting into the territory now. They need to clone themselves at 90 to 100%. And what does this 90 to 100% mean? This means that they are autonomous and a high performer. So this person that wants this manager role has to basically take somebody from the current company, maybe even like if we don't have somebody that they can train, maybe we hire somebody from the outside. They're going to take that person, whether they're already there or it's a brand new hire, and they're going to basically train them to become as high of a performer as they are or very close to it. And this is where the 90 to 100% comes in. This means that they are just as autonomous. The work is just as good within like 90-ish% of this person. And if they can do that, that's the final step. Then after they do that, they can become the manager. Because here's the thing, manager's job is to clone themselves more than once. So if they can't do it once, they're not going to be a manager, because managers are going to require them to clone themselves once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, etc. On and on and on and on. That's what the job of a manager is. Okay. Now we can go through a whole bunch of other stuff that managers are supposed to do. But this is the number one rule. They must be able to clone themselves in their previous role. As an individual contributor, they must be able to clone themselves. So I want to break down what a manager actually teaches, because you're going to be like, well, Nick, well, like, what does a manager do? Like, I get it. They got to be able to clone themselves. But what is it? A manager needs to teach two fundamental things. And this is, in my opinion, the correct proportion. They need to be able to teach people technical skills. And this is about 30% of it, believe it or not. You're going to think that technical skills are way more important than it's like 80%. It's like, look, it's not. How many times have you hired somebody that knows technically exactly what to do, but they're terrible employees, right? Technical skills are a requirement, and they must be within an employee in order to keep their job. But the majority of performance does not have to do with their technical skill. To me, teaching people how to perform is an actual thing that we teach. Like, and here's where I get pushback all the time. It's like, oh, some people have the performance, some people don't. It's like, no, these are learned skills. You can teach somebody how to actually perform. They need to be able to show people how to actually generate performance through habits, through rhythms, through discipline, right? So let's break down some of these items, okay? Number one part of performance is expectations and accountability. So like this is where managers need to teach people how to be accountable given the expectations of their role. And this happens through a lot of conversations, one-to-ones, having clear job descriptions, clear objectives, like all this stuff, right? But ultimately, it is the communication ability of the manager to be able to get this across to the individual and show them what their accountabilities and expectations actually are. This is like probably the most important thing. Number two, they need to be able to teach a person what actually drives results for the company, like how to work within the role to actually generate results. And you might say, well, like, no, like if they do the right steps, it's going to generate results. It's like, I assure you that that is not true. Like, this is the difference between having a great account manager that never loses a client versus having a great account manager that never loses a client and gets like 30% of their clients to refer somebody and upsells another 30%. The difference between one and the other is a complete night and day. Like, one person's an absolute unit, an absolute rock star. Another person's fantastic and like they should get raised and all this stuff, but they should probably like not get nearly as much as the other person. Like, and if you have that other kind of person and they can teach other people how to do the same thing, your business is going to win, like, period. Time management, super boring, but managing time well in the context of a business is a learned skill. Not everybody has it. And this generally has to do with a bunch of stuff like alignment, how they used to work at their last job, any bad habits that they have, how do they take breaks, how to like maximize their breaks to like actually get like energy back. There's a bunch of stuff in here that are like basically tips and tricks of like how to manage your time really, really well in order to do a great job and have great work-life balance at the same time. Another really important one, which is actually probably like number 2 on the list of this whole thing, is working well with others. Like, they got to really know how to actually like work in a way where they're not just attaining their own goals, but they're helping the people around them attain the goals. Here's the nuance of it. There's people that can hit their goals. However, by hitting the goals in the way that they work, they make everybody around them, they make their lives harder. Then there's other people that also hit their goals, but the people around them magically get better, or like the handoffs are smoother. And if you've ever played sports and if anybody's given you like an amazing pass, it's like catching an amazing pass versus catching a terrible pass that knocks you, like off equilibrium and you're kind of stumbling along. That's the difference. Like, somebody that works well with others and still hits their targets is that beautiful pass that you catch and it's just pure flow versus like this stumbly, awkward thing. And these things matter because like every single connection point that they have with other people, it means that that person that only cares about only their results on their own is going to basically have everybody around them off center with these like crappy passes, right? Next, how to hit objectives. Okay, so I already talked about what drives results for the company. Now we're talking about how to hit their own personal objectives. So, hey, this is what you're judged on. 1, 2, 3. Here's the metrics you need to hit. Here's the numbers you need to hit. Here's how to do it. Like, let me give you the tips and tricks of how I did it, right? While balancing working well with others, while hitting all of my expectations. And you're going to say like, this seems redundant. It is not. This is why so few employees are A-level employees. You can literally take any employee of any skill and get them to a minimum an A- employee. Like, trust me, an A-, like an army of A- employees will crush any other company out there. And you're going to grow to like, 8 figures easy if you just have an army of A- employees and you have control over this. So people keep talking about, hey, I need A+ players. It's like, you don't need that to win. You just need to be able to figure this thing out. Okay. Next, how to prioritize. Because look, agencies are balls of just like conflicting tasks, conflicting projects, conflicting priorities, the manager needs to teach people how to prioritize well in order to win. The manager needs to be able to teach people how to prioritize in alignment with winning. Okay. And again, this is a completely learned skill. Lastly, and then definitely not least, alignment to culture. So how do they operate within the business based on the mission, vision, and values of the business so that they're aligned culturally? Again, a lot of this is like repetition of what the values are and like looking at specific situations and one-to-ones and walking the person through it, like, and praising them like, hey, you did fantastic here. Hey, next time that you did do this thing, instead of doing it this way, do it this way. Instead, it's more in alignment with the values. And this is like softer stuff, but it does matter. So here's my key takeaway. The person has to be able to clone themselves. So like 90% of what their former self was before they get promoted to a management role. If they can't clone themselves, this is why they're going to run into problems in the future. And if your managers are stuck already because you realize, and when you look at it, it's like the reason that my managers aren't succeeding is because they haven't been able to make anybody else as high of a performer as an individual contributor as they were before I promoted them. It's like, you have promoted the wrong people. And this is where it gets hard. You're going to have to somehow shift these people in a technical role, or you're going to have to hire like a director level person or a senior manager over top of them that's in fact really a manager, and basically like promote this person to like a lead role or something like that, because otherwise your agency or business is going to be like completely stuck. And look, if you want that training on how to make your agency self-running, there's going to be a link in the description below where I go way deeper into this stuff with way more detail on the things that surround this as well, where you can really get a good sense of what it takes to create this self-running agency where people train other leaders and you get amazing performance. I hope this was helpful to you. Subscribe if you thought this was helpful, and I'll catch you next time.